this book is probably one of the most important works of the entire history of civilization. That's a pretty extreme claim, but let me amplify. The name of the book, and I'll sort of stare at what it says on the cover, is it says the Ashtadhyayi Sutra Partha. That's a mouthful, and it's in the Sanskrit language. And the first part of it is the real title of the book, and it's called the Ashtadhyayi, which means the 8 chapters. Well, the 8 chapters of what? What this work is the first scientific study of grammar in world civilization. This text goes back probably to the first half of the first millennium BC. So it goes back at least 2,500 years and maybe more. This text was, I'm going to use the word written, but I'm going to have to go back and maybe backpedal a little bit on the word written. This text was composed by a man who is known to history as Panini. I'll repeat that name again, Panini. And he lived in the northwest corner of what is now India, maybe 2,500 years ago. It looks like a book because when we print this text out today, we print it out on paper and we bind it and make it look like a book. But what is really hard for people today to grasp is that this work was not composed on a word processor or a typewriter or anything like it. It was composed orally, and it was transmitted probably for centuries in oral form. That meant that people would pass this on to their students, in many cases that would be their children, through what we call oral transmission. And that meant that you had to memorize the entire text verbatim, and there couldn't be any errors in the transmission. So it's only much later in the game that people come to write the text down, and then eventually in the modern period, it gets put into a book form.